and welcome back to my channel, Craft Time by Casey. I am Casey, and today these are the earrings and stretch bracelets that I will be making. Most of the components came from Sam's Bead Box for the month of July 2023. So if you would like to see how these came about, then stay tuned. I'm going to start with the tools that I will be using. I have 2 sets of chain nose pliers, 1 set of round nose pliers, and 1 set of cutters. And I want to briefly mention my tool set. It is the Casual Comfort tool set. As the name suggests, this is the most comfortable tool set to use that I have found. The biggest thing for me with this tool set is the size. I have to say, they seem to be made for adult size hands. A lot of times, for whatever reason, jewelry making tools, if you purchase them online or in the store, they'll be made like this, quite a bit smaller. You can see the grips are a little bit larger as well. So I will have this tool set linked down below along with everything else I use in the video that did not come from the bead box. I will also have linked below the opening video I did for Sam's Bead Box for July 2023, and it will have a detailed description of each and everything that I use that came in the box. From my own stash, I will be using some pins, an ear wire, and some jump rings. So here is the earring that I will be making. As soon as I saw this chandelier component, I absolutely loved it. I love that olive branch of leaves that goes around it. That is just so pretty. So here is the earring that we'll be making. I've completed one and we'll do the other one together. So we're using that tiger's eye strand and we're using 5 of the 6mm and then 1 of the 8mm. So the first thing that we'll attach is that one that's in the center. I'm going to take a flathead pin and put on 1 of the 6mm, and for each one of these, this is how I'm going to make the loop at the top. So I'm going to take my round nose pliers just above the top, bend it just like that, bend it back with my fingers, go in with my cutters into that loop, just like that. And for this one, I'm going to close the loop before I connect it. So I'm going to go ahead and take my round nose pliers and close that loop, just like that. I'm going to take an 8mm jump ring, but I'm going to connect it from the bottom, just like this. Go through that center and through the bottom. And I'm going to take the component that I just created, connect it to that jump ring, and then I'm going to take that jump ring and close it. And then that component will hang loosely in the center from that jump ring. So now we're going to connect the ones here at the bottom. First, I'm going to take a 4mm jump ring, open it, connect it to the center one, and then connect that connector piece with the flower in the middle. And it is 2-sided, so it doesn't matter which way you put it on. And close it. So now all of the components on the bottom are going to be connected the exact same way. I'm going to take another flathead pin, just like this, create a loop, same way as before, bend it back with my fingers, go in with my cutters, and for all of these down here, before I close the loop, I'm going to connect it right here. Go in there with my round nose pliers and close that loop, just like that. And connect all of them the exact same way all the way around. The only difference being the 8mm bead is going to be connected at the bottom of the connector. All the rest are 6mm. All right, so we have connected every one the same way. And like I said, the 8mm one is down here. So now we're going to quickly do the ear wire. So at the bottom of the ear wire, you want to just open it just a smidge. And everything on this earring is 2-sided, so it doesn't matter which way you put the ear wire. So connect it and then close it back. So here are the earrings onto the bracelet. All right, so I'm gonna be making a stretch bracelet with the bead mix. And of course, as you can see here, it has a charm. So here is just some of the bead mix that came in this month's box. And then I will be using one of the melon beads that came in the box as the charm. And for my own stash, I will be using this bail and this flower bead cap. And the stringing material is this Create crystal string. And as you can see, it comes with quite a bit. And I've already cut just a little over 12 inches right here. And I always try to pre-stretch it just a little bit. So I just go down the string, stretch it. And I'm going to be using one of my bead stoppers right here. And for one of the ends of the string, I'm just going to connect the bead stopper just like that. That way, of course, the beads don't fall off the other end. And the melon bead, of course, as you see here, is going to be the charm because it's one of a kind in the bead mix. So I want to make sure I don't accidentally put that on there. And the first bead you put on and the last bead that you put on are going to be the two on opposite ends of the bail. So you want to make sure that the first bead you put on or the last one aren't these teeny tiny ones that could just, go through the bail like that. So you want to make sure that the first one and the last one you use are larger beads so that when they go up against the bail, it's not going to go through like this. So I'm going to use this large bead first. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put all of them on, just keeping in mind that I need to save one large bead for the last one. In no particular order, I'm just going to be randomly putting them on. All right, so I'm here at the last bead, and of course I chose a larger one. There we go. And then the bail. So the thing about stretch bracelets is there's nothing to account for beyond the bracelet, meaning when it comes to length, you don't have to worry about adding findings and a clasp and all of that stuff. The entire length of the bracelet is just beads. So when I get out my ruler, mine is just about 7.5 inches, looks like just under, which is what I usually go for with my bracelets, about 7.5 inches. Usually, if I'm not making a stretch bracelet, I'll stop at 6.5 because beyond the beads, I have to factor in the findings, the guardian wires, the toggle clasp or whatever clasp I'm using. But again, with the stretch bracelet, this is the entire length. So right here, about 7.5. So to glue it, I'm going to be using my Gorilla Super Glue Gel. And I usually get the big bottles just because I use it a lot, so the XL. And good idea is before you use it to shake it really good. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and take off my bead stopper. The knot that I use is just a regular knot like you're tying your shoes. So over, under, the first one, just like that. And then the second, I'm going to go over and then under twice. Just like that. And then pull it super tight. Now you don't want to, snap it or like pulling it that tight, but I like just doing this a few times for about 30 seconds or so where I'm pulling it pretty snug. And I have nails, so I have to make sure I'm not like doing it like this because you're going to snap the string. So make sure I'm pulling it with my fingers. And I always want the knot where I make it either next to a bail or next to a wide mouth bead. That way I can slide the knot underneath that and it's hidden. And in this case, it's going to be hidden by the bail. All right, and the way I do this, I'm going to hold it just like this with one hand where I'm holding the beads back and I'm holding the bail on this side with my fingers. And I'm going to get in there with my cutters pretty close. Cut off the end on one side, get in there pretty close. Cut off the end with the other side. And then I'm going to take my Gorilla Glue, get in there, and just put a little bit on that knot. But you want to make sure you get it on both sides That way it's very saturated, but you don't need a whole bunch. And then I'm going to keep holding this bead back and hold that bead back and then put the bail over it. And then let the beads go. Just like that. So now it is drying underneath that bail. So now we're going to make the charm. And I like to give my stretch bracelets, I mean, it dries pretty quick, so it could probably be just a couple of minutes, but I just let them sit for a day before I attempt to put them on, just to make sure it's pretty solid. So I have the flat nose pin. I'm going to put the bead cap facing up, melon bead, bead cap facing down. Take my round nose pliers, go just above that bead cap, bend it back with my fingers, go in with my cutters, and before I close it, I'm going to connect it to the loop on the bail, and then go in there and close that loop, just like that. So here is the stretch bracelet with the charm. I'm going to set everything up on my display so that we can see it better. All right, so here they are, and I am super happy with how they came out. I absolutely love that tiger's eye strand. I think those are so pretty. I love how the different shades of pink just kind of fade into one another. And I said it before, those chandeliers, I just think they are super pretty. And I really like those stretch bracelets too. Anytime I see a bead mix, that's usually the first thing that comes to mind is a stretch bracelet, because they just kind of feed into that so well. And I love those melon beads as the charms. I just think these came together so nice. So if you like this video and you want to see other videos like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and give me a like. Leave a comment. I absolutely love reading my comments. You guys are so kind, and I definitely look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.